Hello there, very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News here on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Naveksha Gunasekara and let's start off by taking a look at your headlines.
8-year-old girl dies in Valigama house fire. Several gas explosions reported today. Laughs Gas says CPC can't test the quality of gas. Electricity trade unions go into phase 2 of the work to rule strike action. Health minor staff also launched trade union action. Will the price of fuel be increased?
මිල සංශෝධනයක් නොකරේ නම් මේ බදු යම් අඩු කිරීමක් කළා දෙන්න කියලා අපි මුදල් අමාත්‍යාංශයෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් කරලා තියෙනවා.
Substandard fertilizer in the market, says the state minister.
කූට ලෙස මේවට මිල ගණන් කැඳවලා තියෙනවා.
In your top story this afternoon, an 8-year-old child has died in a fire that broke out at a house in Valigama, Mathura last night.
The fire had broken out in a room at 10:40 p.m. yesterday, where the roof had collapsed thereafter. 2 girls and their grandmother were at the house at the time of the incident. The father had left the home at 10:20 p.m. to pick up his wife from work. Although the neighbors took measures to evacuate those in the house, one of the children who was asleep in the room had succumbed to her injuries. The fire brigade had entered the premises as soon as the incident was reported by the Mathura police. The cause of the fire is yet to be ascertained. Police said they did not observe any damages in the gas cylinder, the cooker or any other applications. The police said, based on the preliminary investigations, it was determined the fire did not erupt due to a gas leak, although the neighbors said a huge sound was heard when the fire broke out.
I heard an explosion. The noise sounded like a blast. It kept getting louder. I opened the window to look out to see that the whole roof was on fire. I then came out from the gate and no noise from the house could be heard. So I was crying out for help, but we couldn't save the child.
The Valigama police are conducting further investigations.
Litro Gas has introduced a consumer hotline to report any issues regarding domestic LP gas or gas cylinders. Accordingly, consumers will be able to report of any incidents via the hotline 1311. The company has also released a new set of guidelines for consumers on its official website. Meanwhile, several gas-related explosions were reported last night as well.
Severe burn injuries as a result of an explosion caused by a gas leak in the Nattarampot area in Kundasale, Kandy. The injured woman has been admitted to the Kandy General Hospital. The incident has taken place around 3 a.m. Another incident was reported from Giriulla, however no injuries have been reported. There had been an explosion due to a gas leak at a house on Samsudin Mawatha in Elovila, Panadura last night. There were no injuries as a result of this incident. A gas stove has exploded in a house in the Atbatu area in Hungama at around 8:30 last night. The explosion did not cause any damage or injuries to residents. However, the gas stove was damaged.
Meanwhile, the Laughs Gas PLC says the investigations carried out by the petroleum corporations is still not successful. No one can make changes to the combination of gas because even before the importation of gas, we provide combinations to the suppliers. No lab in Sri Lanka can test the combination of gas. There is no facility. There are 2 foreign companies in Sri Lanka. Except for them, no one has the required equipments to test. What is done by Ceylon Petroleum Corporation is taking the gas from the surface and testing it. It is not the correct method. For example, how we perform a test for gas that is transported through ships is we take samples from the surface, from the middle and from the bottom.
උඩ එක ටෙස්ට් එකක් කරන උඩින් අරගෙන මැදින් අරගෙන සහ යටින් අරගෙන.
Views were expressed in the political sphere on the gas leak incidents reported in the island.
As a public representative with responsibility, I am saying a complete investigation must be carried out in this regard. Even though I am from the ruling party, there are no issues on our part. I will always oppose. The people in the Ratnapura district have voted for me, not so that I will bow my head for everything that the government does. If the government is making a mistake, I will speak out. The results of the investigation are not complete yet. The specialists should conduct a complete investigation and provide an update.
මේ පිළිබඳ පූර්ණ ඇගීමකට ලක් කරලා පූර්ණ පරීක්ෂණයට ලක් කරලා නිවැරදි ප්‍රතිඵලයක් දෙන්න ඕනේ.
A consultative committee appointed by the Ministry of Trade convened this morning to discuss the issues regarding gas cylinders. The meeting is being held at the Parliamentary Complex. Leader of the Opposition, Sajid Premadasa, members of the Opposition, the Minister of Trade, the State Minister and representatives of Litro and Lavs Gas were also present at the meeting. In addition, professors of the University of Moratuwa, senior DIG in charge of the Western Province, Deshabandhu Tennakon, were also present at the meeting. Still in local news, the Ceylon Electricity Board Engineers Union says the second phase of the work to rule strike action will be implemented from today. Soumya Kumaravadu, president of the Ceylon Electricity Board Engineers Union, stated that his union is currently engaged in a continuous trade union action.
The Ceylon Electricity Board Engineers Union have been engaging in a trade union action since 12 noon on the 25th, citing several demands including the cancellation of the informal and illegal New Fortress LNG deal and the continuation of the ongoing LNG tender process.
They are trying to pull this sector down. We will step into the second stage of the Work to Rule campaign today. The people will experience inconvenience. We would like to state the whole responsibility of this should be taken by the officials who are behind these corrupt activities and the government who appointed these individuals. The people will understand that we are doing all of this focusing on national security, the future of the country, protecting the rule of law and stopping this corrupt transaction and make matters work according to the law.
Meanwhile, junior health workers engage in a strike action today focusing on several demands, including overtime payment. 20,000 junior health workers across the country have been engaged in the strike action. This was the situation at the National Hospital today.
More than 80% of hospital services will be disrupted. However, essential services will be carried out. The main objective of this is to have a number of our main demands heard. Health workers work 48 hours, when the other state employees work only 40 hours. We are not paid for those 8 hours.
Ministry of Energy Udaya Gammampila stated in Parliament today that the Ministry of Finance has been informed to reduce taxes if prices are not revised. He was responding to a question raised by the opposition.
The oil refinery in Sapukaskanda is closed. It seems renovation of this will not take place ever. After all this falls apart, we can observe that this is in preparation for something different. For example, when there were questions raised on the East Container Terminal, they gave the West Container Terminal. Next is the fertilizer problem. It looks like the black market businessmen are provided with approval to bring down fertilizer. Even the gas issue has been created to give it to someone in the future after everything falls apart. Likewise, I am asking the subject minister, are you planning on selling the Sapukaskanda oil refinery to a foreign country? Because we know Basil Rajapaksa is in India now. Is it for this transaction or something else?
The
oil refinery in Sapukaskanda is 52 years old and we don't have any thought of selling it. Even I don't think there will be a demand to sell it. Compared to the technology at present, this is 52 years old. I have already been told that this will be closed only for 50 days. However, we will make efforts to open it before that.
නුදුරු අනාගතයේ මේ විවෘත කරන්න අවශ්‍ය කටයුතු මේ වෙනටත් යොදමින් තිබෙන්නේ.
එදා එපා කියපු ඒ මිල
To protect the consumer, you have agreed that the fuel price formula is good now when you said it is bad in the past. When we look at the price of the fuel, 30 to 40% is tax. You see a huge crisis concerning fuel in the future. Will there be a situation where we cannot bring down fuel in the future? If so, what will be your actions?
කියාවක් තියද එහෙම වුණොත් ඔබතුමා මේ රටේ ජනතාව වෙනුවෙන් ගන්නා වූ තීන්දුව කුමක්ද කියලා දැනගන්න කැමතියි.
කඤ්ඤ තෙල් නීතිගත සංස්ථාව
Since the Petroleum Corporation did not make any changes to the price during the past 6 months, the loss that they have made during the last 10 months is 70 billion rupees. As a result, we have requested the Finance Ministry to provide some concession on tax if the price cannot be changed. However, the only country that did not increase the fuel price in the world is Sri Lanka.
නොකල ලොව එකම රට ශ්‍රී ලංකාව කියන එකත් මේ ගරු සභාවට මම දැනුම් දෙන්න කැමතියි.
Still in local news, Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa has left the island for a visit to India. The Government Information Department stated that he left the island last night. Basil Rajapaksa is scheduled to meet Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and several other senior Indian ministers in the next 2 days. This is Basil Rajapaksa's first foreign trip after being appointed as the Minister of Finance by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Meanwhile, Manju Lalit Varnakumara was sworn in today to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna MP Mahinda Samarasinghe. Lalit Kumara had obtained 46,361 preferential votes in the last general election in the Kalutara district, according to the preferential results. He is also the organizer of the Bulat Sinhala electorate of the Podujana Peramuna. Drifting your attention to an ongoing problem in the country, the farmers engaging in corn cultivation in Anuradhapura, Epavala, Rotavava areas are facing issues due to the fertilizer shortage and the Sena caterpillar.
The main livelihood of the people of Rotavava village is Sena cultivation. 80% of the farmers in the country have already moved away from farming. Even though the rest of the farmers are involved in farming, the number of issues they face is countless. On the one side, there's a fertilizer issue, and on the other, the issue faced due to Sena caterpillar.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Finance, Basil Rajapaksa, has signed the relevant Gazette notification regarding the cancellation of the Gazette banning the import of chemical fertilizers. Controller of Imports and Exports, Damayanti S. Karunaratne, stated that the ban was lifted from today. Meanwhile, the importation of several other weedicides, including glyphosate, has been banned by the relevant Gazette notification. Accordingly, the relevant Gazette notification has been sent to the government printer.
New COVID-19 health regulations have been implemented until the 15th of December. It states that weddings could accommodate 2/3 of the hall capacity or a maximum of 200 guests.
According to the new health guidelines, a maximum of 250 people can attend outdoor weddings and liquor will not be allowed. A maximum of 20 people will be allowed to attend funerals. Cinemas are allowed to accommodate up to 75 people per screening. GCE advanced level classes are allowed to function at a 50% seating capacity.
That's a wrap of lunchtime news here on TV1. Thank you for watching. You can always log on to our website www.newsfirst.lk for all these stories and much more. Stay safe and take care.